Hello, all of you dynamic Revit users. Today we are going to be diving into a Revit adventure that's going to transform the way you model repetitive casework and furniture elements in Revit. I'm going to show you 10 strategies that I use for creating and organizing Revit families. I'm going to outline some super simple strategies and tricks that you can use right now to speed up and streamline your Revit modeling process. Your aim should be to create a highly organized set of superfamilies that are tailored to your needs. This allows you to focus on their design and iterate quickly and efficiently. Additionally, in this era of rapid BIM adoption by architects and clients alike, it's becoming more and more important that your Revit library serves as the heart of your BIM workflow. So the question you might be asking is, why create your own Revit library? Well, I personally have been frustrated in the past not being able to find the correct family that I need. It's a very time-consuming process searching the internet and not finding exactly what you need. And modifying existing families can take up just as much time. Many family sets out there have unnecessary clutter and complexity that makes them unusable. But the main reason why you might want to create your own Revit library is that maybe you just want to learn how to create families from scratch. So strategy number one really is to keep things simple. So it's easy to get carried away and start adding in a lot of details to your families. But remember that the detail that you add is often very specific to a specific project. My strategy is to keep things very simple, and you'll see that these families then are very generic. They're made up of simple masses, which is suitable for the sketch design stage of a project. Strategy number two is to be consistent. So being consistent means having a consistent level of detail across all of the assets that you create. So you want to pay special attention to how your elements read in 3D as well as in your 2D views. So in this example, you can see I've laid out a very basic kitchen layout. And in this kitchen layout, you'll see that where the stove is, there is an extractor above the stove. And in this view, we are currently cutting through that geometry and it's displaying that kitchen hood. But we can tweak the way that we want Revit to display this family by editing the family, then selecting all of the geometry and then going to the visibility graphics overrides for this specific family and deselecting the display in 3D views and plan option. This will mean that the geometry will not display in plan, but the symbolic lines that we have set up in the family will be displayed in plan. So now you see when we load that family back into the project, it displays correctly. So strategy number three is to keep file sizes minimal. So in many BIM projects, there is a set file size limit to your Revit project file. So it's ideal to keep your family sizes to in and around 1 megabyte of file size. One useful tool to controlling the size of your families is of course the purge tool. So if we edit our family, this can be found under the Manage tab under Purged Used, and you may need to purge your family multiple times to make sure that there are no unnecessary elements in your family file. So strategy 4 is to test your families thoroughly. This may involve using them in your projects for a time and seeing really what works and what does not work. Strategy 5 is that you want to build in enough controls and parameters in your families in order to manipulate them appropriately as you would need. Point number 6 is to set up all of your types beforehand. So you want to have all of your families and all of their types sort of planned out or laid out so that you can see all of them. And you really want to have real world sizes, or the sizes that you typically use, set up and ready to go. And one key thing is to have all of your materials in all of your families loaded in. Strategy 7 is to use line-based families. So there are numerous advantages to using line-based families. And if we go ahead and place in a kitchen cabinet family, and this is a line-based family, so you'll see that we can draw it in as a line along this wall. And I'm just going to hit spacebar on the keyboard to mirror it onto the right side. Because it's a line-based family, we can use the trim commands. So I'm going to use the trim extend multiple command. And I'm going to pick the face of this wall and trim the cabinet to the face of the wall. And then I'm just going to click on this cabinet and hit CS on my keyboard to create similar. And if I place in another cabinet, I can also use the trim extend to corner tool to trim these two cabinets together. And one thing that you may not realize, or it may not be readily apparent, is that when you have two families of the same type, you can join them together using the join command. So if I click on one and then the other, you'll see that they join together and they form quite a neat junction at the end there. And you'll notice that in this model, these families are generic models. So if you're using Revit 2021, the join command will work for your generic families. But in later versions of Revit, if you have these as casework families, the join command will work there too. So strategy number 8 is to use voids to create cutouts in your families. This is really something that most Revit users don't know about. And even though we have created lots of parameters in our families, sometimes you need these voids in order to create the complex forms that the design requires. So in this example, I'm going to create a cutout in our kitchen cabinetry that's going to provide a little recess for the bar stools. So I'm going to go to File, New Family, and I'm going to create a new generic family type. And the family type of your void family should match the family that you are cutting. So here I'm just going to add in some reference planes. And I'm going to give these some dimensions. And we're going to use the equality constraint to center these reference planes we created. And we're going to create another dimension, one for the width and one for the length, and we're going to call this one length. So we're going to create a parameter for the length, and we're going to click on this dimension and we're going to create a parameter for the width. And then we're going to draw in a void form as a void extrusion, and we're going to pick lines, making sure that our lines are locking to whatever we pick, and we're going to pick our reference lines. So now we have our lines of our void family that are locked to our reference planes, and we're going to trim these together. And so now we have the length and the width as parameters, and on the left where it says constraints, for the end parameter, for the end extrusion value, we're going to give that a parameter by clicking on this little toggle at the end of the constraint, and we're going to make that our height. And to make this easier to manipulate, we're going to take these parameters and we're going to make all of them instance parameters. So that is our void family. And we're just going to save this as void family 01. I'm going to load that into our project, and we're going to place that. And so the idea would be to use the cut geometry command to cut the generic family from the void. The void from the generic family, but you'll notice that Revit's not allowing us to cut these two elements. So what we're going to do is we're going to edit this family, and if you go to the family category and parameters option, there's an option here, cut voids when loaded. So a lot of people miss this step in their void family creation process, but just make sure that that option is ticked. So if we load that back into our project, and we're going to overwrite our family that we have already in the project. So now if we use the cut geometry tool, you'll see that our void is now cutting through our generic family, and we can increase the height of that. So number 9 is to use the family types function to insert your families into your project. So if we edit this family and we go to File, Export, you'll see there's an option for family types, and what this does is it exports a text file of all the family types in this particular family. So you'll see I've already exported one for this particular family. So once that's saved in the same folder where the family is saved, when you are in your blank project and you load in a family, so we're going to select this couch family type. So this dialog appears. This dialog lists all of the parameters that are in the family, and you can filter these parameters by clicking on each of these toggles. So if I wanted to filter the couches in this family for a certain length, so say I wanted to only load in the 1 meter long couch family types, then I would apply that filter and then select these 3 families which are listed here, and you'll see that in the project browser these 3 family types are listed. So strategy 10 is to use apps to organize large family libraries. In your family creation process, you'll reach a stage where you have a large number of families that you have created, and these families become very difficult to organize within your Windows file structure. So I've been using this app called Avail, which organizes all of your Revit content into one place, and it allows you to set specific keywords for each of your families, and this makes it much easier to search for and find what you're looking for. So what's really useful about Avail is that it utilizes your existing cloud storage. So if you have Google Drive or OneDrive or Dropbox, for example, it will utilize that storage, and what you see in Avail is simply just an index of all the families that you have saved in your cloud. Now Avail has a free version that you can utilize, and there are other paid subscription versions that allow additional functionality, and I'll leave a link in the description below to Avail, and you can check it out for yourself. So this process is all about thinking ahead for what you might need in the future. I can guarantee you, having been through all of this, that it's a very time-consuming process. But think again of all the time that you will save on each project having all of your basic elements readily at hand. If say you saved 1 hour on each project in a given month or year, those time savings can really add up. So that about wraps things up for this video. If you have any comments or questions, please feel free to leave them down in the comment section below. If you have any suggestions about what you'd like me to cover next, or any part of the process you'd like to see in more detail, let me know.